FOSS ebook pages 53 through 58. Careers you can count on. The metric system is the international system of measurement. The United States does not officially use the metric system, yet every day we count on accurate measures. We use measurements at home, work, and play. Here are a few people who use measurements at work. Scientists. Today, scientists around the world use the metric system. In the United States, scientists use it for their research. They use the metric system to measure, collect, compare, describe, and analyze information. Scientists collect and record information using the metric system. Pharmacists. Today, most medicines are measured using the metric system. Pharmacists measure and label all types of medicine using the metric system. For example, on a bottle of aspirin, the dosage is listed in milligrams. Pharmacists carefully measure medicines to be sure the dosage is correct. Meteorologists. Meteorologists studies earth, air, and weather. They use the metric system to measure temperature and other weather conditions. They also use it to measure the amounts of chemicals in Earth's air. Meteorologists use the metric system to predict weather conditions. Biologists. Biologists study living things. They use the metric system to measure and weigh animals and plants. They also use metric measures to map the places where plants and animals live. Biologists who work in zoos use metric measures to help them take care of the animals. Like pharmacists, biologists measure medicines using the metric system. Biologists measure the growth of plants and animals. Astronauts. Astronauts are trained to take part in space flights. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, uses metric weights and measures on all flights. Astronauts use metric measurements for all their space duties. Ecologists. Ecologists study the relationships between living things and their environments. Ecologists measure how much pollution is being released into Earth's air and water. They use the metric system for these measurements. Ecologists also use the metric system to measure and map the loss of some environments. This loss is caused by droughts, floods, fires, and natural disasters, as well as by human impacts such as climate change. Ecologists measure water pollution in metric units. Archaeologists. Archaeologists study how people lived long ago. They use the metric system when charting and mapping areas they are studying. They also measure and weigh bones and other objects using the metric system. Archaeologists carefully measure and record each new find. Chefs and bakers. Chefs and bakers use many different types of measurements at work. They need to carefully measure all the ingredients and recipes. Bakers also need to know what temperatures their ovens must be. Then they can cook breads, cakes, and other delicious foods. A skilled chef must measure the right ingredients to prepare a meal. Engineers. Engineers have to understand many types of metric measurements. They use tape measures, rulers, and other measuring instruments. They also must know how to read blueprints correctly. Blueprints are plans that tell exactly what a building will look like. Engineers use exact measurements when making blueprints. Auto mechanics. Auto mechanics who work on cars from other countries must know the metric system. Instruction books and packaging materials from other countries may use only metric measurements. This is also true of parts used to repair foreign cars and trucks. Mechanics use metric tools to repair foreign cars. Athletes and sports officials. Many sports use the metric system for measurement. Track and field events, swimming, and skiing are just a few. Runners compete in the 100, 200, 400, and 1,000-meter dashes. Cyclists compete in 10-kilometer races. Divers compete using platforms 10 meters high. That's almost as high as a 3-story building. Athletes often compete against one another in different countries. Because most countries use the metric system, it is used as an international sporting event as well. If you look at the caption in the picture, it says the Boston Marathon is the world's oldest and most well-known marathon. In 1975, the Boston Marathon was the first to include a wheelchair division. In 2012, Josh Cassidy of Canada set a new men's world record at the Boston Marathon with a time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 25 seconds. At the bottom, there is a chart with amazing athletic achievements. These are some world records for international sporting events. The 100-meter dash was run by Usain Bolt from Jamaica in 9.5 seconds on August 16, 2009. The world record for the 200-meter dash is also held by Usain Bolt from Jamaica, and it was run in 19.19 seconds on August 20th, 2009. The long jump is held by Mike Powell from the USA, and he jumped 8.95 meters on August 30th, 1991. And for women's track and field events, the 100-meter dash was run by Florence Griffith Joyner from the USA in 10.49 seconds on July 16th, 1988. The 200-meter dash, also held by Florence Griffith Joyner from the USA, was run in 21.34 seconds on September 29th, 1988, and the long jump is held by Galina Kristiakova from the USSR, and she jumped 7.52 meters on June 11th, 1988. Two other people who need to know how to use the metric system are veterinarians and teachers. Veterinarians use the metric system to measure medicine for animal patients. They also use temperature measurements to see how healthy their patients are. Veterinarians use the metric system to measure the growth of animals. And teachers. Science and math teachers help students learn about the metric system. Nearly all the nations of the world use the metric system. That is why it is important for people in the United States to understand and feel comfortable with the metric system. Teachers explain the metric system to young students. The bottom in the yellow box says, using the metric system. Would you believe that we use the metric system already? We use it every single day. When we talk about electricity, we talk about watts. Watts are metric units. We buy liters of soft drinks. We measure medicine and vitamin dosages in milligrams. Hunt for metrics. Can you find 5 things around your house that have metric measurements on them? Make a list on a sheet of paper.